Good afternoon, Trinity, and welcome to another episode of The Rock. I am your announcer, Alex Garbus. On today's episode of The Rock, we examine the issue of drug abuse. We learn more about dangers of some of the most commonly used illicit drugs. We will take a closer look at Trinity's program that promotes a drug-free lifestyle. We will learn about the unfortunate consequences of students' addiction to drugs. And we discover a local treatment program that helps its residents overcome alcohol and drug addiction and learn to live a productive lifestyle. All this and more on today's episode of The Rock. Here are your anchors, McAllister Cox and Nathan Schmidt, with today's episode.
Welcome to The Rock. The Rock is the Trinity Television's news magazine that features stories based on a theme that focus on the people and events here at Trinity and the Louisville community.
Drug addiction is an ever-growing problem in the United States. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, there are approximately 20.6 million people in the United States addicted to drugs. The country spends more than $193 billion each year in costs related to crime, lost work productivity, and health care associated with drug abuse. But more importantly, countless people's lives are destroyed each year due to drug addiction.
In today's first story, Justin Karam introduces us to David Tarullo, a 2003 Trinity graduate who serves the program manager and runs the long-term substance abuse treatment program at the St. Vincent de Paul Men's Shelter in Louisville. In Justin's story, Mr. Tarullo sheds light on some of the dangerous drugs that have contributed to our community's drug addiction problem.
Illicit drugs are an increasing risk in today's community, and illicit drug use is skyrocketing.
I'd say what's most popular is heroin. There's about 1,000% increase in the last 5 years. And synthetic drugs like spice, kratom, bath salts, all these over-the-counter things that people are buying.
In 2015, heroin use had significantly increased. Among the 8th, 10th, and 12th graders surveyed, 50% of the 8th graders, 70% of the 10th graders, and 80% of the 12th graders had used heroin in their lifetime. Synthetic drugs are also becoming increasingly popular among young people for a number of different reasons.
One, the access to it's pretty easy. You can buy it at local stores and smoke shops. It's legal, and you can't really detect it in most drug tests.
Even though synthetic drugs are legal, they are still just as dangerous as well-known drugs.
But it really is some dangerous, hardcore chemicals, and it's messing people up pretty bad.
Addiction is a very serious problem, and it can start from something you think is harmless.
Avoid the synthetics that are going around. A lot of it's very dangerous, and just because, oftentimes when we're teenagers, we think we're like getting away with stuff, and but people know what's going on, and might do something to your brain that you can't repair.
Addiction can make your life go downhill, and it is important to help anyone you care about.
As far as avoiding getting in trouble with addiction, a lot of times it's a slow, gradual process, and I think if you see somebody you care about really going downhill, using drugs and stuff, that talking to them and looking out for them and reaching out is a pretty important thing.
Thanks, Justin. In our second story, we focused on Trinity's drug testing program and the school's efforts to promote a drugs-free lifestyle. Alex Garbus has the story.
During the 2015-16 school year, Trinity High School introduced its student drug testing program.
Part of our mission is to form men of faith and men of character, and part of that we are looking for any way possible to help our students be as healthy as possible. And part of that is we know that in our society that some individuals succumb to the idea of using illegal drugs or alcohol. We spent a number of years researching testing programs, visiting other schools. We spent a long time deciding what was best for us, not just completely copying what was being done in other schools. We wanted to make sure it was done the right way, with the right process and with the right people.
While its origins may be complex, the drug test itself is actually quite simple.
This is called a custody and control form. There's one for each person we test. The person signs acknowledging that they are being tested, which is called a sample acquisition card. In here is a small piece of foil, which the hair goes in, folded into. There is a seal to seal the sample acquisition card, and there is an alcohol wipe we use to clean the scissors between each person. Once the hair has been cut, it's placed inside this foil and then placed inside this sample acquisition card. The person initials this. That is placed in this bag along with the paperwork, and this bag is what we send by FedEx overnight.
Drug testing isn't the only way Trinity addresses drug prevention among teens. Trinity offers a drugs and alcohol class for students who wish to learn about the dangers of these substances.
We've learned in this class from Dr. Striegel that early drug use and alcohol use is important. The chances of being addicted go up the earlier that you use.
It's definitely an important topic. The first 20 years of your life, if you use drugs, it can really mess you up later in life.
While people were unsure of how Trinity's drug testing program would play out when it was first announced, students educated in drug prevention believe that the drug testing program benefits Trinity and its students.
I think the social norm was that, it's going to be a bad thing, but I thought it would be good to have, face the problems now instead of later on in life.
It's definitely helped people who do drugs here quit. I've known a lot of people who have cut down because they like going here and they don't want to get kicked out. It's definitely been good against peer pressure. Saying, no, my school test, it's kind of turned into a joke, but in reality, it helps a lot.
Thanks, Alex. In today's next story, Zach Brumbeck shares the heartbreaking story of a Trinity graduate who lost his battle with heroin addiction and how his family has tried to make sense of the loss of a loved one. Here's Zach with the story.
Sean Arnett, a 2010 graduate of Trinity High School, was a pretty typical student. He participated on the cross-country and track teams, the Senior Flag Corps, and was an Eagle Scout. And according to his sister Celeste, he was a very caring person who would do anything for his friends.
He's very laid back, fun and carefree. Sean was the kind of person that would go out of his way and do anything for you. One time his coworker didn't have a car seat in his car and he had to pick up his children. Sean went and bought him a car seat and put it in his car for him so that he wouldn't lose custody of his kid.
Sean's behavior suddenly changed, however, when he began experimenting with drugs.
He wanted to seem cool, I guess, and in that way he started using drugs like his friends did, and started with marijuana. And then as he got older, it spiraled out of control and it eventually ended with heroin. We noticed he was less attentive with his schoolwork. He was not as home as much. A lot of times he would, kind of have parties or sneak out at night. So I would say it really started changing when he was 17.
Sean's mother was initially unaware of his heroin use.
Who does heroin? It's like, and I asked him, I said, do you have a problem? He said, no. He said, I really like to drink, but, I don't drink and drive. He said, I don't have a problem.
Soon after it became evident that Sean, in fact, did have a drug problem, his family checked him into several rehab centers to attempt to get him the much-needed help.
He wanted to try and change, but then again, we would go and get him help, but he would never stay with it. He probably thought that, it's like a person who is an alcoholic. They know they need help, but they think that they can conquer it themselves.
Unfortunately, Sean was unable to overcome his heroin addiction, and his life began to spiral out of control. One day in June 2013, Sean stole money from his parents' bank account to support his addiction. The following day, when Sean did not return home, his mother knew in her heart that something was terribly wrong. Her worst nightmare was confirmed when she received a call from the hospital telling her that Sean had overdosed on heroin and was on life support. Sadly, Sean passed away on June 3, 2013. Sean's death is a reminder that drug addiction can happen to anyone. To this day, his family still struggles with his death.
It kills the family. Your parents and your siblings and your friends, they never get over this.
Through Sean's suffering, Celeste strongly urges anyone to abstain from experimenting with drugs.
Don't do it. Absolutely don't do it. It may seem like, something your parents are just telling you not to do, it's not that big of a deal, but it starts with even just a cigarette. It starts with just pot, and it spirals out of control. Once you find that one high, and it doesn't work for you anymore, then you're going to be seeking the next one and the next one and the next one until you're dead.
Thanks, Zach. In today's final story, Tyler Ramsey introduces us to the Beacon House, a local organization that serves not only as a transitional living facility for individuals who are in need of long-term substance abuse treatment, but also provides its residents with the resources they need to resume living healthy and productive lives. Here's Tyler.
Beacon House provides a positive and safe environment to help its residents to overcome their drug and alcohol addiction. Beacon House was founded by Don Blackburn in 1996 as a long-term substance abuse recovery program. Russ Reed is the executive director of the Beacon House.
The Beacon House is a transition house for men only. We have 50 residents here, age group all the way from 18 up to 62. We're open to anybody that suffers from the disease of addiction.
Much of the success of the Beacon House can be attributed to the structure that it provides to the residents' daily life.
The average day in the life of a guy here at the Beacon House, so we want everybody out of bed by 8 o'clock. So when they wake up, they clean themselves up, get ready for the day, go down and sit in the morning meditation for about a half hour. After morning meditation, they usually have their breakfast, and then after that, they go into some counseling sessions and some group sessions, after which they can go to a meeting, a 12-step meeting. We want them active, and we want them to actively be participating in their recovery.
According to resident manager Quentin Randolph, Beacon House offers its residents a number of resources to help them live productive lives.
We give them a safe place to live, to be able to work a 12-step program with a sponsor of their choice. We do have resources for them to get jobs. We give them an opportunity to come up, after they've been here for a while, to come up with an exit plan so that they can leave here the right way. We help them out get food stamps. We help them work on getting, if they don't have any Medicaid or any Medicare insurance, we help them in doing that.
Resident Mr. Frank Rutledge is grateful for what Beacon House has done for him.
This place is run so well, and it has so many people that care about it, that support it. It's a light at the end of the tunnel. I've completed step 12 already, and I'm currently sponsoring other people outside of the house.
Thanks to the Beacon House, residents like Mr. Rutledge get a second chance of living a productive life, free of drugs and alcohol addiction.
Thank you, Tyler.
Be sure to watch tomorrow's TTV for an announcement on how you can help the residents of the Beacon House.
Well, that's it for this episode of The Rock. We hope you enjoyed today's show.
And remember that if you or anyone you know is suffering with a problem with drugs or alcohol, to get help. Tell a trusted friend, parent, or counselor and get the help that you or someone you care about desperately needs.
Have a good afternoon, Trinity.